Nobody wanted me, not even the kind-hearted volunteers who whispered sweet promises through the chain-link fence. And one morning, as the fluorescent lights buzzed overhead and the scent of bleach and wet fur filled the air, I heard myself whisper it out loud. Maybe they'll never take me home. My name is Benny, and my smile, well, it's crooked. Not just a little lopsided. No, it's the kind that makes people tilt their heads, squint their eyes, and whisper to each other like I can't hear them. It happened long ago, before I even knew what a home was supposed to feel like. Before I understood that a family could mean safety, love, soft hands, and warm voices calling your name in the dark. The shelter was all I knew. A place that smelled of disinfectant, fear, and 100 forgotten dreams. Every morning started the same. The metal door would screech open. Footsteps would echo down the hall. And my tail would wag, even though my heart had stopped believing. I'd press my face against the bars, trying to look friendly, trying to look like a dog worth taking home. But the moment they saw my mouth curve sideways, like a broken smile caught halfway through a laugh, they'd pause, frown, and move on. I watched the puppies get scooped up first, fluffy balls of joy with perfect teeth and bright eyes. Golden retrievers, Dalmatians, border collies, dogs whose smiles shone like sunshine. People loved those smiles. But mine? Mine scared them. I'd hear the murmurs. Let's look at the next one. Too strange looking. What's wrong with his face? Days blurred into weeks. Weeks dragged into months. I learned the rhythm of disappointment, the way hope could rise like a balloon when footsteps approached, only to pop when those feet kept walking. I slept on a thin blanket that smelled like 100 other lost dogs before me. At night, when the shelter fell quiet, and only the hum of the lights and the occasional whimper from another kennel filled the air, I'd dream. I dreamed of hands touching me gently, of a voice calling my name, of a door opening to grass, sunlight, and a place where I belonged. But every morning, the dream would vanish, leaving me staring at the same four walls, my crooked smile as lonely as ever. Then, one rainy afternoon, when the world outside was a blur of gray and the air smelled like wet pavement and old sadness, I heard a new kind of footsteps, smaller, uneven, hesitant, as if the person they belonged to wasn't sure they wanted to be there at all. My ears perked up. My tail gave a cautious wag. The scent was different, lighter, softer, like crayons, peanut butter sandwiches, and childhood. A child's giggle floated down the hallway, followed by the steady, reassuring steps of an adult. My heart thudded in my chest. Hope clawed its way up, even as I told myself, don't believe. People don't come for dogs like me. Not ever. But then, they stopped, right in front of my kennel. And for the first time in so long, someone didn't look away. Big blue eyes stared at me, wide, curious, unafraid. They took in every part of me. My ears, my paws, my ribs, and yes, even my crooked smile. I pressed my nose against the bars, trembling, not daring to move too fast. Afraid to scare away this little bit of magic that had wandered into my gray world. The child crouched down, small fingers gripping the edge of the kennel door. "Hi," they whispered, soft, like they were sharing a secret. My heart skipped. No one had said hi to me in months. Not like that. Not like they meant it. And for the first time, I let myself imagine. Maybe this is the start of something different. The volunteers approached, their smiles kind but cautious. They'd seen this before. Children drawn to dogs their parents wouldn't take home. But something about this felt different. Like the rain outside was washing away all the old sadness, leaving just this moment. Me and this child, staring at each other as if we both knew what it felt like to be unwanted, and to still hope. The child's eyes stayed on me, filled with pure wonder. My tail twitched. My breath fogged the metal bars as I waited. Then they did it again, louder this time. High. The sound washed over me, like sunlight after a storm. I tilted my ears forward, soaking up every drop of kindness in that single word. They didn't flinch at my lopsided grin. They didn't glance away. They just saw me. I nudged the bars softly with my nose and let out the smallest whimper, not out of sadness, but out of quiet, desperate hope. The child reached a hand through the bars. Tiny fingers brushed my fur, feather light, hesitant, but kind. That touch sent a warmth through me I'd almost forgotten existed. The man, tall, tired-looking, with eyes the color of a cloudy sky, stepped closer. He glanced at me, and I saw the familiar reaction. The pause, the frown, the way his eyes lingered on my crooked mouth. But unlike all the others, he didn't walk away. He just stayed there, one hand resting on the child's shoulder, silent and thoughtful. A volunteer approached. "That's Benny," she said softly. "He's been here a long time. He's a special boy." Her voice carried a mix of sadness and fragile hope, like she still believed I had a chance. The child turned to the man. "Dad, can we see him, please?" Their voice was a gentle plea, the kind only a child can make, full of honesty and longing. The man hesitated. Then, slowly, he nodded. "We can meet him." The kennel door creaked open. I stayed still, heart racing, wanting so badly to do everything right, to show them I wasn't a mistake, that I could love and be loved. The volunteer brought me out on a leash. My paws trembled on the concrete, my tail unsure whether to wag or tuck. But when the child reached out again, I took a cautious step forward. Their small hand brushed my face, unafraid of my crooked smile, unafraid of me. It had been so long since someone looked at me like that, like I wasn't broken, like I was just a dog waiting to be loved. I leaned into their touch without meaning to. A soft sigh escaped my chest. The world around me faded. The barking, the rain, the endless waiting. In that moment, all that existed was this little human who saw me, really saw me, and didn't turn away. For the first time in forever, something inside me stirred. Something I thought I'd lost forever. A tiny, fragile hope that maybe this wasn't the end of my story. Maybe it was the beginning of something I'd only ever dreamed of. They led us to the playyard behind the shelter. The rain had slowed to a drizzle, leaving the grass damp and the air heavy with the scent of wet earth. I hesitated at the threshold, unsure, but the child was already there, crouched low, arms open, waiting. I stepped forward, slow, careful, my tail wagging low but hopeful. They picked up a worn tennis ball and tossed it just a few feet away. I scampered after it, paws kicking up droplets, and brought it back clumsily, my crooked smile making my grip awkward. But when I dropped it at their feet, they clapped. They cheered. They looked at me like I'd just done something amazing. No one had ever looked at me like that before. We played for what felt like forever. I rolled in the grass. I nuzzled their hands. I let the man scratch behind my ears, his touch tentative at first, then softer, kinder. The volunteer said, "Benny's been here almost 2 years. He's sweet, but folks always pass him by." I didn't need to understand every word to know what she meant. But for the first time, the weight of that truth didn't crush me. Not with these two kneeling in the mud beside me. When they finally stood to leave, the child hugged me. Tight, warm, real. My whole body stilled, then melted into it. That hug was everything I'd been waiting for. The man sighed, not in frustration, but in something gentler. He looked at me, and for the first time, I saw not just caution in his eyes, but possibility. "Can we come back tomorrow?" the child asked, voice trembling with hope. The man hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah, we can come back." As they walked away, I curled up on my blanket, my crooked smile softening into something almost peaceful. Because for the first time in as long as I could remember, someone had promised to come back. And deep down, I believed them. The next day, I waited, and they came. The day after that, they came again. Each visit grew longer, each game more joyful, each touch more trusting. The man stopped watching from a distance. He joined us. He laughed, a real warm sound that made the whole yard feel brighter. He asked the volunteers questions. Is he good with kids? Does he need special care? What's his story? And slowly, I stopped waiting in the kennel. I started waiting for them. On the fourth day, the man signed papers. The volunteer used words like trial adoption and home visit. My ears perked. My heart soared. That evening, as they left, the man crouched down and looked me in the eyes. "One more visit, Benny," he said, voice firm and kind. "And then you're coming home." I pressed my head to his chest. Yes, yes, yes. The next morning they returned, not just to visit, but to take me. The volunteer clipped a blue collar around my neck. "The same color as your sneakers," the child said, beaming. We walked out of the shelter together, past the threshold where my life had been paused for so long. The sun hit my face. I breathed in freedom. Grass, trees, car exhaust, rain, 1,000 smells I'd never known. The man opened the car door. The child climbed in first, patting the seat beside them. I scrambled up, curling close to their side. The ride was a blur of color and light. My head rested in their lap. Their fingers stroked my fur. And for the first time, I knew, this is my family. We pulled up to a house with a big oak tree and a green yard. Inside, everything was warm, sunlight on the floors, soft blankets, a basket of toys with my name on it. The child knelt beside me. "This is your home now, Benny." The man rested a hand on my head. "No more cages," he said. "You're safe here. You're ours." That night, I curled up in my new bed. The house was quiet, but full of life. The child's breathing from the next room, the soft hum of the refrigerator, the distant chirp of crickets. For the first time in my life, I closed my eyes and knew, when I wake up, I'll still be here, still loved, still home. Mornings became rituals of joy, the child waking me with hugs, breakfast in my own bowl, walks through the neighborhood where people smiled and said, "Hi, Benny," never once flinching at my smile. We played in the yard. We splashed in puddles. We built blanket forts and read stories under the big tree. My crooked grin, once a mark of shame, became a symbol of joy. The child drew pictures of us together, surrounded by hearts. They told neighbors, "This is Benny. He's the best dog in the world." And I believed them, because here, with them, I was. I ran through fields. I slept on the couch between them. I got bacon under the table and belly rubs that lasted forever. I was no longer the dog no one wanted. I was Benny, their Benny, the dog with the crooked smile, who found a family that saw past the surface and straight into my heart. Years passed in golden light. The child grew taller. The man's hair turned gray. But their love never faded, and neither did my smile. Even now, when my steps are slower, my naps longer, I still wake to soft hands and whispered good mornings. I still feel the weight of the child's head on my back at night. I still know with every fiber of my being that I was chosen, not despite my crooked smile, but because of it, because it led me to them, and they led me home. So if you've ever felt unlovable, if you've ever hidden your flaws out of fear, remember Benny. You don't need to be perfect to be worthy of love. You just need someone who sees you and says hi.